So I try to avoid the news, watching the news if I can. I'll go through spells where I never watch the news. You know, I'll go for a week without. I don't buy newspapers anyway. Without turning on the television and seeing what the news is. I remember being away on courses before and coming home and not having seen any news all week and saying to my wife, you know, what's gone on, what's been happening in the world. And I remember one time I was away for 5 days doing an NLP course and I came home and I said to my wife, what's happening? And this was a few years ago, and she said to me, oh, Madonna's got a black baby. And I thought, what, you know, that threw me anyway. I said, what do you mean Madonna's got a black baby? And she said, oh, Madonna's adopted a baby from Africa, a black child, and it's all over the news. And I thought, that's the news. That's all I've missed in 5 days. That's the headlines. That's what's all over the newspapers. That's what's on the television. And it made me realise that quite often, you know, you're not missing a lot. And then yesterday, I found myself just sitting down in the morning and flicking on the television and watching the news. And obviously at this moment in time, the weather in lots of different parts of the country is horrendous. And I found myself sitting there. I had a few one-to-ones yesterday. And I found myself sitting there, and after a while I flicked from one channel to another, and it's all about how bad the weather is, which it obviously is. Some parts of the country have had it and are having it really bad. You know, there's red weather warnings about. But where we live in Coventry, it's actually not that bad. We've had snow, but it's not that bad. The roads are clear. But I found myself thinking yesterday, oh, you know, this is terrible. I hope my clients cancel and I don't have to go out. You know, it's cold, it's a bit snowy. And eventually I went out. All my clients turned up. The roads were fine. Everything went really well. And I was thinking to myself, wow, what happened there? You know, why was I thinking so negatively? And it was because I was watching the news and I was allowing myself to pick up on these sort of negative news stories. And I know it is affecting people and it is a big story. But like I said, where we live, it wasn't that bad. And then my mum hasn't been very well recently, so I'm going round to see her every day. I'll speak to her every day anyway. And she always says to me, can you pick me up my newspapers? I don't buy newspapers, but I'll pick her up her newspapers. And I've noticed for the last few weeks while she's been stuck in, all she's been watching is the news. And she's starting to say to me, you know, how bad the world is. And she's reading her newspapers and, you know, how bad people are and how many bad people there are in the world and how many bad things are happening. And she's right. You know, there are bad things in the world. There are bad people out there. You know, I think to not believe that would be really naive because those people are out there. But for me, I see far more good people than bad people. And I've worked with people in my line of work that have done horrendous things that I'm not going to go into. But to be fair, I'm being really honest here, they're few and far between. There are bad people in the world. We can't deny that. You know, but for me, there's far more good in the world than bad. And if your belief is that there's far more bad in the world than good, I've said this before, you're going to find the evidence to support your belief. You'll find it. Turn on the news, pick up a newspaper, and they'll tell you all about these bad people. And then everywhere you go, you'll be looking for bad people. Even down to people not clearing the snow off their paths. That's one I've heard today. That makes them bad people. Not so much that they're bad people, but they're very selfish people. Is that true? You know, it's really important. Maybe this is just my beliefs, but I see far more good in the world than bad. But it's really interesting how this can creep up on us. I've said this before, how these little things can creep up on us. So from me yesterday watching the news, giving it a little bit too much of my attention, getting to the point where I'm thinking, oh, I hope I don't have to go out today, it's really bad, to actually taking some action and going out, and it was fine. Like I say, all my clients turned up. But how easy it is if we're not careful, if we're not monitoring our own beliefs. Other people will implant beliefs in us. Society will give us beliefs, you know, and all of a sudden the world's a bad place. It's full of bad people. It's not. For me, the good far outweighs the bad. And that's the message for today. Be careful who your influences are, the people around you, what you're watching. Because as much as we like to think, you know, I'm my own person, I do what I want to do. Other people don't affect me. They do. They do affect you. You know, television, what you watch affects you. What you read affects you. The people who you surround yourself with affect you as well. So I think it's really important to be mindful of that. And that's the message. I'm about to go out into this really cold weather and see some more clients. So, but for those people that are having it really bad, you know, be careful, look after yourselves, and hopefully speak to you soon. Take care. Bye.